Hey everybody, this is Will Davis. I'm making this video to announce the restart, or should I say resurrection, of this YouTube channel. I started this channel a long time ago, 2013, and it was basically experimental. I wanted to try some different things in conjunction with the kind of articles I was writing for my website, the type of investigations I was undertaking, and I think it had a mixed success. We did have some videos that got 60,000 views. At least one of them did. Most of them are in the thousands. So it did have some success, but not broad success. It does have a small cult following, and I know who you are out there, and thank you for that. And occasionally those people would try to goad me into restarting it. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to make videos just to make one every week. If I didn't have anything really to say, but recently, I've decided that it's time to restart this channel, and I'll tell you why. In the last several years, we've lost a number of old-time collectors. Dennis Clark passed away, Bob Aubert, Tillman Elster, and with them, they took a whole bunch of institutional knowledge. Now, I haven't been doing this as long as them, but I've been doing this 26 years. That's a long time. And I've learned a bunch of things that took a long time to learn. Figured out a bunch of things that took a long time to figure out. So before I become a statistic, I think it's time to do that. Most recently, I was carrying on an email exchange with my German friends, Thomas Fertig and some other folks. I had CC'd Norbert Schwartz. And Norbert was one of the collectors I did a collaborative article with very early on my first website on AOL. And they were ready to inform me that he had passed away. And then just last week, maybe the week before, I saw some of Norbert's machines for sale on eBay. So that kind of galvanized my will to start doing some things here again and tell you and show you things that you haven't seen before. And remember, for those of you that are new, those of you that are old timers will know this. Those of you that are new, we make a deal when you watch one of my videos. I have no production values whatsoever. I don't edit. There's no intro. There's no outro. You don't see me. You just see the machines and whatever junk I'm showing you. In return for that, I tell you things and show you things that no one else can or will. And that sounds like a tall promise, but it's not a brag if you can do it. So we're going to do that here today. But we're going to start this series, which is going to be weekly, by taking a walk down memory lane. So in moving things around, looking all over the place for, what was I gonna do? I ran across this as I was digging through things. We're gonna take a look through this. This is the kind of binder I would generate 20 years ago when I was writing big articles on particular typewriters. This is the Harris Visible, and that's why this thing is sitting here. For those of you that are worried, this was never on fire and it was never underwater. It's just not in fantastic shape, but it is pretty rare because it's got the original early style key tops on it. Looks like Oliver key tops, but they're not. And it says on the front here, if you see down here, it says Harris Typewriter Company Fond du Lac. Not Harris Typewriter Manufacturing Company, but Harris Typewriter Company. So there's something you don't see every day. But I would assemble these binders with things I had found and things that other collectors would very graciously send to me, knowing that I was in the process of making another one of my big articles. Let's take a look in here, and you can see the kind of things I did, what I accumulated. This is a trade catalog for Sears, Roebuck and Company, the Harris Visible. Of course, that's the first company to sell the Harris. They also used it in their own offices. They had over 1,000 of these eventually in use in Sears offices in Chicago. And when you see the little ad in the newspaper that says send for particulars, this is what you get mailed free of charge. So very nice little ad for the National. Here are some letters from the inventor of the Harris, DeWitt C. Harris himself. That's him right there. To users of the Harris. We'll actually talk about these and reveal their contents in a future video when we get into the engineering of this thing, but just know that they're there. This is an original instruction manual for the Rex Visible when it was being sold and distributed by American Can. Oh, this tattered thing here. This is a Betz Pharmaceutical catalog. And the reason it's here is because there was a variant of the Rex, the Harris, that was sold as the Betz Visible, the doctor's own typewriter. Pharmaceutical keyboard, but otherwise a normal Harris. And of course, we do have the only known Betts Visible, which is right there. You see Frank S. Betts Company. You notice in the illustration, the name was on the front rail, and here it's on the top. It's kind of irrelevant, but you see the pharmaceutical keyboard there. Pretty cool. Good stories behind buying that. I'm going to do an Austin Typewriter Inc. podcast pretty soon with those awesome guys, and I might tell some stories about that. But anyway, for a long time, that thing was the only proof that it itself existed, and it took me years to find an actual Betts catalog that showed it. Oh, here's one. Here's a typewriter that's still never been found. The Vim Visible, which is Simmons Hardware. If you see there's Simmons Hardware Company. And they were hot on the alliterative things like Keen Cutter with K's. So this is a Vim Visible. No one's ever seen that typewriter. This ad here is, so far as I know, the only proof that they ever existed. Rex Visible Trade Catalog. Pretty neat. This, here we go. Here's another name from the old days. This is a Repro Harris instruction manual, and this came from Office Machines Americana, Ernie Jorgensen, who's long gone. Another old name. More instructions and ads. We're getting back to the important part of this. Oh, here's a copy of Etc. with a National on the front. That's at number 10. I was still writing for Etc. at that time. Here's part of the real old stuff in here. So friends would send me articles that they had. They'd photocopy them. I'd get letters sent to me, and of course the all-important serial number lists that all the collectors traded between each other. And always, if we found a machine, we would add on to that. Emails from my friends, Peter Wheel, Jim Dax. Jim Dax no longer with us, I'm sure. Kyler Brooks no longer with us. And then back here is all the stuff in these page protectors, is the stuff that I would accumulate right before writing the article. I sort of step it out myself. There's a Rex Visible number 10. Those are really hard to find. I actually got one from Herman Price last year when I went to Herman's. This is a number 10, and you can see here, look down there, Rex Typewriter Company, Chicago, Illinois, USA, number 10. See the extra keys there? 32 keys instead of 28. This one needs a paper table and it needs a tab key top, but otherwise it's complete and operable. So someday I'll fix that thing up. I've got donor machines over there in the vault for this. We'll see what happens with that. And of course, you make a timeline. You construct a timeline of events based on what you know. And patents, extremely important. This is back when you had to search patents. You couldn't search it by name at all. You had to search them by patent classification. That was really interesting because you had to know the machine. There were different patent classifications. For instance, type bar pulled to print point, type bar pushed to print point, right? And those were two different classifications. So if you knew how the machine you were looking at worked and you wondered if it was patented and you didn't have any patent numbers on the decals or anything, you'd have to go in and start searching by how it worked. And now they've changed it. They've made it European style, and I think it's worse. But all the thoughts of the inventors might be in these patents if you dig in there. Letters. Here's a letter on the demonomal letterhead, which is, of course, the last form of the company. Sent me by Peter Wheel. Stuff from Chuck and Rich. The stock certificate. Again, these are all photocopies they sent me of things in their collections. So I didn't get the originals, but I got the data that I needed. I got the information and was able to start writing articles with all the stuff that I found and bought and traded for and what have you, plus all the stuff that they had taken years to come up with. So anyway, there's a little walk down memory lane just to kick this new series off. I'm going to do these every week. I did a poll on Austin Typewriter Inc., and more people seem to favor the beginning of the week. I was trying to do that this week, but man, I had to look around for all kinds of things and try to figure out what other content I was going to generate and what to tell you and show you that would matter. So I think I've got that set up, and we're going to start doing these next week. Might drag Dave along on some of these, but most of these are going to be solo. So we will see how this develops. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.